Aloha, welcome to Experience 27, 5 problems every software engineer should be able to solve, part 2. This is a practice WOD, so please do it again and again. Practice doing this. Remember of Santiago Valderrama's blog post about 5 problems every software engineer should be able to do in an hour? Well, we're going to do problem number 2, writing a function that combines two lists by alternating taking elements, for example, ABC and 1, 2, 3 should return A1, B2, C3. Okay, so this is a practice WOD. So we're going to talk about GitHub, IntelliJ, JavaScript underscore ESLint, just like we did in E27. So let's begin. We want to start our timer. And then we want to create an empty GitHub repo called ziplist. Ziplist. I'm going to make it private, add a README, create my repository. There it is. I want to download it, open it with GitHub Desktop. Again, here I'm getting ziplist. Again, make sure that the local path doesn't have any spaces in it. And I do like to have a GitHub repo that has all my local repositories. And then in that folder, I want to organize them. And since we're doing this for ICS 314, I put it in there. And then the name of the repo, hit clone. Again, we talked about the preferences for your editor. Choose IntelliJ and your terminal, save. And now we can open it in IntelliJ. You may see a pop-up that says, do you trust it? So you want to trust it. And it will open it up because it's your repository. You do want to trust it. And again, we don't have anything in here. So what we want to do is, again, ensure that we're using the JavaScript coding standards and we turn on ESLint. So we do that by going to Preferences, the editor, code style, we're using the right code style. Make sure our inspections for JavaScript are turned off. But we do want to turn on ESLint. And again, I want it to be an error to make it stand out. I also want to go down to languages and frameworks, JavaScript. Make sure we're doing ECMAScript 6+, code quality tools, ESLint, automatic configuration, okay. Then we want to, we've got that. So now we want to save this. And it's not in download, so it's my home, GitHub, ICS 314, ziplist, save. Save as, ziplist. Save as, ziplist. We want to rename this file, Shift F6, or function Shift F6, and we want it to just be .eslintrc.js. We want to have our git ignore just like we did last time. Again, we just want it to be .gitignore because we don't want to store the .idea directory, we don't want any IML files, and we don't want to store or push the node modules directory to GitHub. And lastly, we want to sample, we want to change that to package.json. And again, that's going to install ESLint and create two scripts so that we can run ESLint. So now we want to go to the terminal, and we want to run npm install to download the npm packages so that we can get ESLint and all their dependencies. And again, you could add the files if you want to. We can do it via GitHub Desktop, because we can see we got the 4 files that we could add. So let me just add them. We're going to commit to main. We're not going to push yet because we're not quite done. And notice they go change to black, so I don't need that, and I don't need that. So I've got that far. So now I want to create 2 files, index.html and ziplist.js. So propeller n, nope, sorry, new HTML, index.html. I will add it, but I won't ask again. This, and I need, again, I have multiple nodes, so I need to configure the node path. Okay. ESLint gives me a little green check mark. So now this is zip list. And then I want to create ziplist.js, new JavaScript. Okay. And then I need to put the underscore, load the underscore package. Command E, switch to index. After the title, I load underscore, and then I want to load ziplist.js. Again, I have to load ziplist.js after underscore because I'll be using underscore in ziplist.js. Got that. So now we're going to create a function called ziplist that accepts 2 lists of equal length and returns the result as alternately taking elements. For example, given ABC and 1, 2, 3 should return A1. Okay, so let's go to ziplist and say const list 1 equals A, B, C. Const list 2 equals 1, 2, 3. And if I hit Option Command L, it will reformat to get rid of the spaces that I did for this error. Save it, and we can see we have 2 ESLint errors. We can see there are 2 ESLint errors by the 2 red dashes, and list 1 and list 2 aren't used. Well, yes, that's great. So function zip, oops. Is it? No, capital L. Zip list 1, first, second. And so now we want to create a return value that is the array that we're going to stick all these things in it. So const return ret list, and it's going to be empty. It's const because we're not actually going to change what the list is as a where it points, but we're going to change what the contents of it. So we're not actually reassigning ret list to another value. We're doing something else. And so this one we should use, we want to use a for loop. Let I equal 0. Since first and second are both the same length, we could say that I is less than first dot length, I plus plus. So now we want to push ret list dot push, which adds an item to the end of the thing, and we want to add first sub I and second sub I. So this adds the first value, the ith one, and then it pushes it. So it's adding 2 items to the end of the ret list. And lastly, we want to return ret list. Okay, so again, we're not using list 1, we're not using list 2, we're not using, so let's use all 3. Log zip list, list 1, list 2, and a new line, save it. Oops, I have a space here. I got my green check mark, that is fantastic. Put E, go back to here, open this up, open the console. We get an array of 6 items, A1, B2, C3. That's exactly what we're expecting to get. Excellent. So now let's go to zip list. Actually, let's go to here. And the second function is called zip list the simple way. It does the same thing using underscore. So let's go back. So we can write a function, or let's do an arrow function, const zip list the simple way is equal to an arrow function that takes first, second, and it's an arrow function, and we want to use underscore. So let's go to underscore.js, and let's look for zip hint. Oh, there's a zip in arrays. So the zip function takes some number of arrays. We're only interested in 2, and it returns an array where the items are put together. So basically a 3. So well, we don't want that, but we can start with that because it's doing exactly what we want. It's taking the first value of the first array, the first value of the second array, and putting them into an array, and then the second value and the second value, and then the third value and the third value. So that's exactly what we want to do. So we want to go here, and we can do a return underscore dot zip first and second. And so let's look at this. And again, because it's an arrow function, we can shorten it up. Because it just returns something, we can do shorthand it. So now let's console.log zip list the simple way, list 1, list 2, and let's take a look at what we get. So now let's see what we get. We get 3 items, but we really want it to look like this. So it's an item of 6, not an array of A1, B1, B2. That's exactly, we want to make it one thing. So what do? We look for another function in underscore, and flatten. When you look through it and start reading it, you can see that flatten takes an array of things and returns an array by pulling all the items out of the array or arrays. So flatten seems like the right function to use. And how did I know flatten? I've been reading through the underscore documentation, and what are we really doing? We're taking this array of arrays and we're turning it into a flat array of just items. So the name makes some sense. So let's see if that works. So what we want to do is flatten the result of that. And we've got our green check mark for ESLint, so we're good to go. Let's save that. Let's take a look. And lo and behold, we've got A1, B2, C3, A1, B2, C3. So we are good to go. So let's take, is there anything else we needed to do? We make sure that we don't have an ESLint. We're green. We've had many errors. We know ESLint's running. Okay, so commit your finished program to GitHub. So we're done. We got index.html, zip list. So finished in 1615. Commit domain, and now we can push those two things. Well, I can stop my clock. We can push those two commits. The first one where I added the ESLint RC, package JSON, and package lock, and then the second commit where I added the index.html and the zip list in their final version. Push to origin. Push, push, push. Now we want to make sure that it's up there. So I can just click the view on GitHub, and we've got the files up there. Excellent. And we got the commit of finished in 1615. So finish as code as a GitHub, stop your timer, record your time. Did that, and we're well within the DNF time of 15 minutes. So please, please do this. If you want, you can watch this video after you've done the try, but please practice this until you're very comfortable with creating GitHub repos, downloading them to your laptop, opening them in IntelliJ, making sure the projects have following code standards, and then turning on ESLint, setting up ESLint to work, and then work on underscore. Thank you very much.